We're standing at the grave of John Smith. John Smith grew up as a Baptist. He was like, one of the things you have to realize that back in the early days, because he's born in 1784, you talk about the turn of the 19th century, you're talking about a time when the Second Great Awakening took place. And part of that awakening had to do with, there was a reaction against, and we'll talk more about this tomorrow when we get over to Cane Ridge, but there was a reaction against Calvinism. Calvinism said, basically, in order for you to have a relationship with God, you had to have an experience, some sort of experience. Well, John Smith, everybody in his family had the experience. He wanted to have the experience. He tried his best to figure out how to have an experience. Couldn't seem to have one. He came up with one where he was kind of out in the woods and some sort of something happened, and he presented it to the Baptists, and they said, well, it's really not that good a story, but you're a good boy. So they went ahead and accepted him in the Baptist church, so he decided he wanted to preach in the Baptist church. But the more he studied the Bible, and the more he came to realize that something's just not right. And tonight we're going to go to Upper Spencer, and I've got some things I want to read things that he said from the pulpit there at Upper Spencer about the struggle he had to try to come out of Calvinism, the darkness that he was in at that time. And but yet he finally came through. He found out about the writings of Alexander Campbell. He started reading this stuff, and he's thinking, this is the kind of thing that I've been thinking about. And so it wasn't until about 1824 Campbell came down into Kentucky that he had an opportunity to meet him. Smith was the one that the story was said that he went to Flemingsburg to hear him preach, and for the first time it was exciting. The house was full, and he'd ridden his horse like 30 miles over there for the meeting. Campbell gets up, he preaches, sermon's over, his friend's sitting next to him. He said, well, what you think about that sermon? He said, well, to tell you the truth, he says, I'm kind of disappointed. And he said, what do you mean? He said, well, I rode my horse 30 miles to get here to hear this man preach for 20 minutes. And his friend said, my friend, you need to look at your watch. He's been preaching for 2.5 hours. So he was impressed with Campbell. And so there was a friendship that developed with Campbell. And from that, discussions about trying to go back to the Bible, to be Christians like you read in the New Testament. And he was so impressed with Campbell, he was so impressed with what he was learning about the Scriptures, and so he was involved in a Baptist group of churches, and he started preaching restoration principles, going back to the New Testament, be Christians like the Christian in the New Testament. He started having problems. People started wanting to debate him, but he was such an exciting person. He was really not that well educated, to tell you the truth. In fact, Alexander Campbell once said that he was the only person he knew that an education would hurt, because he was just so dynamic, and he drew everyone. They called him Raccoon John Smith because one time he showed up for a Baptist meeting, and he looked so disheveled after being on the road for so long, and they said, who are you? And he says, I am John Smith. He said, I'm from back where the raccoons roam in the caves of southern Kentucky type thing. And so they started calling him Raccoon John Smith. So that's how he got the name. But a lot of things you could say about John Smith, but